Hey guys, welcome to Unit 6, Lesson 4, Adding and Subtracting Rational Expressions. So we've done multiplication, we've done division, and now we're on to adding and subtracting. So with this, the first thing that you always have to remember when you add and subtract with fractions is you need to have a common denominator. So for this first one, example 1, we have some letters here, some variables. When you add, you only add what's on the top, and the bottom stays the same. So since we have C on the bottom, we just leave it as C, and then it becomes A plus B. Same thing when you're adding with numbers. So here we have 8 as our common denominator, so 8 stays on the bottom, and then you just add the top. 2 plus 5 is 7, and this would be our answer. This next one, we have 2x and 2x. We still have the same denominator, so what we would do is subtract them. So we end up getting 2x here, 3 minus 7 becomes negative 4 over 2x, and that's going to reduce. We can take a 2 out of both of those, so we get negative 2, and that's just going to become x. So we get negative 2 over x as the final answer on that one. Here we have x minus 4 for the both, so we get 3x plus 6, and then we have x minus 4. Now we could try to factor out 3x plus 6, take out a 3, but it's not going to do us any good. It's not going to reduce down any further, so I'm just going to save us some time. That's as far as we can go there. The tricky part comes when we don't have a common denominator. So what you do is, in order to get a common denominator, you need to multiply in order to get the same thing. So in this case, we have C and D. So if we want to get C and D to be on the bottom of both, what we're going to do is multiply by, not C. So the left side is missing a factor of D, so we're going to multiply by D over D, and then we're going to multiply by C over C. We end up getting AD over CD for the first fraction, and then we get BC over CD. Now that we have C and D on the bottom of both, we have a common denominator. So we can add those together. We would get AD plus BC all over CD. So we're just adding the numerators together. Okay, and there's our answer on that one. Same thing if we were to do this side here. Multiply by D over D, multiply by C over C. We end up getting DA or AD over CD minus BC over CD, and then we would end up subtracting the tops, AD minus BC all over CD. We have to have that common denominator. It gets a little bit easier when we think of it as numbers. So now we have 1/3 and 2/7. In order to get a common denominator, we need to find a common denominator for 3 and 7. So those are both factors of 21. But to get 21 on the bottom, we would have to multiply 3 by 7. So we're going to multiply by 7 over 7. And we're going to multiply this one by 3 over 3. So we end up getting, remember when you multiply fractions, top times top, bottom times bottom. So you get 7 over 21 plus 2 times 3 is 6. Over 21. Now we can add those together and we get 13 over 21. There's our answer on that one. It's a little bit trickier on this next one because now we have a 5 on the bottom and an x on the bottom, but we're going to do the same thing. We're missing an x on this side, so let's multiply by x over x. And this side, let's multiply by 5 over 5. So this becomes 3x over 5x. Minus 2 times 5 is 10 over 5x. And then when you put those together, we get 3x minus 10 all over 5x. And we got it down to one fraction. All right, let's keep going here. So we are adding. Now, the left side, the denominator has 2x cubed. So we have a factor of 2, and then we have 3 different x's. Over here, we have 4, so technically 4 is a multiple of 2, but we're missing some x's. So what we need to do to get the exact same denominator, this side we need to get from 2 to 4. So in order to do that, we're going to multiply by 2 over 2. And then this side, in order to match that up, we are missing some x's. We're missing 2 of them, in fact, so we're going to multiply by x squared. So the first one, this right here, is going to become 2 times 7 is 14 over 4x cubed, it's 2 times 2, plus, now this one, we're going to get 5x squared over 4x times x squared is going to be 4x cubed. Notice we have the same denominator, which is what we want. So now we can just add the tops together. We would get 14 plus 5x squared over 4x cubed. And nothing's going to reduce out of that, so this is going to be our final answer right here. Okay, keep going. This one, it gets a little bit trickier because we need to do some factoring. So 4 stays the same, but the bottom, if we factor this, we end up getting x and x. Factors of -6 are 3 and 2, and signs are different, and the negative has got to be the bigger number. So we get -3 and +2. But notice, we already have a -3 on the bottom of this other one. We're just missing the x plus 2. So that's what we're going to multiply. We're going to change this one and multiply it by x plus 2 over x plus 2. This one already has a factor on the left side. The left fraction already has a factor of x minus 3. So we don't need to change the denominator here. We just need to change the right side fraction. So what we're going to end up getting is, I'm going to rewrite this whole statement here. I'm going to keep it as x plus 2, x minus 3. So we're going to keep that the same. Plus, but now we got to distribute. So 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 2 is 10. And then the bottom, we can just leave it as x minus 3, x plus 2. Don't worry about multiplying that out. But we have the same denominator now, so we can combine what's on the top. So since we're adding, we can add 4 and 10, and we would have the 5x. So we're going to get 5x plus 14 all over x plus 2, x minus 3. And there's our answer. Subtracting, same exact idea, but we have to be careful because sometimes we have to distribute the negative sign. So let's go ahead and factor this one right here. Hopefully you saw that right away. We can factor it. X and x, factors of 12 that add to make 7 are x plus 4 and x plus 3. And notice we have that x plus 3 over here. We're just missing the x plus 4. So that's what we got to multiply by. X plus 4 to the top and to the bottom. So let's rewrite this. 4 over x plus 3 plus 4 minus, now we got to distribute the 5. So we're going to get 5x plus 20 over x plus 3, x plus 4. Do have to be really careful though, because this is like, think of this as it's in parentheses, because this negative sign is subtracting the whole thing. So we would actually have to distribute the negative to both parts. So this is going to end up being a negative 5x, and then when you take 4 minus 20, you're going to get negative 16. And now the bottom just is going to stay as x plus 3 and x plus 4. That's going to be our answer on that one. All right, one more to go here, and then you guys have a couple to try on your own. So this last one, just like before, notice that we're going to have to do some factoring. So we are going to factor this one. It's going to be x plus 3, x plus 3. Factors of 9 that add to make 6 are 3 and 3. And then this one over here is a difference of squares, so that's going to be an x plus 3 and an x minus 3. So we're missing quite a bit here. On the left side, we are missing a factor of x minus 3. And then on the right side, we are missing a factor of x plus 3. We only have one of them, but we need 2. So what we're going to multiply the left side by is x minus 3 on the top and x minus 3 on the bottom. And then over here, we're going to multiply by x plus 3 over x plus 3. So since we're multiplying these, we're going to have to FOIL. So we're going to do x times x times 1, negative 3 times x, and negative 3 times 1. So that is going to give us x squared plus x minus 3x minus 3 all over. Now we have this, this, and this all on the bottom. So we have x minus 3, x plus 3, and x plus 3. Minus, on this side, since it's just 1, you can distribute the 1 to both parts on top. So we get x plus 3. And then on the bottom, we have the same thing as the other side, x minus 3, which is right here. We have x plus 3 right here, and then we have another x plus 3, which is this one up here that we multiplied with. Since we have the same denominator, we can combine the tops, but be careful. Since this is a minus, we got to distribute that. So we are going to get x squared on the top. These are going to combine to make negative 2x, and then minus 1 more x is going to give us minus 3x. And then we have a negative 3 here, but this is also going to be another negative 3, because this becomes negative x minus 3. And we end up getting minus 6 on the top. And then the bottom, we have the x minus 3, x plus 3, and x plus 3. That is going to be our answer. We're not going to be able to take that any further, so we're going to stop right there with that one. And the purpose of this, I know it seems kind of weird because there's not as much reducing as what we've done in the past, but the purpose is because in the next lesson, when we're solving these rational expressions, we need to know how to get a common denominator and put the terms together. Okay, so go ahead and try a couple of these for yourself.